He was ambitious, but lazy. This story will make you think deeply. Principles that transform. Have you ever met someone full of dreams, but who never moves forward? Someone who talks a lot about what they're going to do, but never does anything. This is the most painful story that exists. The story of someone who wants everything but does nothing. The story of someone who dreams big, but lives small. It's the story of a man who had everything to succeed, but chose to lose. And perhaps hearing this story, you'll recognize someone, or perhaps you'll recognize yourself. Listen until the end, because this isn't just a story. It's a warning, it's a mirror, and it could be the change you need. In a small town where everyone knew each other and opportunities were scarce, lived a young man named Raphael. Since childhood, Raphael was different. He dreamed big. While his friends played in the dirt streets, Raphael sat on his house's porch, looking at the horizon, imagining a glorious future. He saw himself in luxury cars, living in mansions, traveling the world. His eyes sparkled when he talked about his plans. One day I'm going to be rich, he'd tell anyone who would listen. I'll have my own company. I'll employ people. I'll make my family proud. You'll see. And people believed him. How could they not? Raphael was intelligent, articulate, charismatic. When he spoke, everyone stopped to listen. He had that rare gift of making others believe in his words. His parents were certain he would be someone important. His teachers said he had potential for anything. His friends admired him, but there was a problem no one saw at first. A problem Raphael hid very well behind his beautiful words and grandiose dreams. Raphael was lazy, deeply, terribly lazy. When he was 16, a merchant in town offered a golden opportunity. He needed a helper in his store, someone to learn the business from scratch. The merchant was prosperous, respected, and willing to teach everything he knew. It was the kind of opportunity young people like Raphael waited for their entire lives. "Come tomorrow at 6 in the morning," said the merchant. "We'll start early because there's a lot of work." Raphael returned home radiant. "My chance has arrived," he shouted to his mother. "This is the beginning of my fortune. I'm going to learn everything about business. In a few years, I'll have my own store, bigger than his." His mother smiled, proud. She arranged his best clothes for the next day and set the alarm to ring at 5 in the morning. When the alarm rang, Raphael opened one eye, looked at the still dark window, and thought, "It's too early. Just 5 more minutes." He turned over in bed and went back to sleep. When he woke again, the sun was high in the sky. It was 9 in the morning. He jumped out of bed in panic, dressed quickly, and ran to the store. But when he arrived, breathless and sweaty, the merchant was helping another young man, a young man who had arrived at 6 on the dot. "Sorry, Raphael," said the merchant without looking him in the eyes. "I need someone committed, someone who values opportunities. Good luck." Raphael returned home humiliated, but instead of feeling shame, he felt anger. "What a rigid man," he complained. 6 in the morning is too early. No one should work at that hour. He doesn't know how to recognize talent when he sees it. His friends agreed. His family consoled him, and Raphael continued dreaming, talking, planning, but not doing. The years passed. Raphael had other opportunities, many others. An uncle offered to teach him carpentry work. Raphael went the first day, found the work too heavy and never returned. "Manual labor isn't for me," he justified. "I was born for bigger things." A teacher noticed his talent for mathematics and offered free private lessons, preparing him for a scholarship in the capital. Raphael went to the first 2 classes. On the third, he preferred to stay home watching television. On the fourth, he didn't even let the teacher know he wouldn't be coming. The teacher gave up on him. "That teacher is too boring," Raphael told his friends, "always demanding homework. I know mathematics. I don't need to do repetitive exercises." When he turned 20, Raphael still lived with his parents, still slept late, still spent afternoons in the square with friends, talking about his grandiose plans. But something had changed. People no longer listened to him with admiration. They listened with pity. Some even avoided him when they saw him coming, knowing they'd have to hear again about projects that never left the drawing board. His childhood friends were building their lives. Marcos, who was never as intelligent as Raphael, had a small mechanic shop and already employed 3 people. Zhuang, who could barely read at 10, had worked so hard that he got into university. Pedro, the quietest of all, had just gotten married and bought his first house. And Raphael kept waiting, waiting for the perfect opportunity, for the ideal moment, for the luck that, according to him, would surely come. One day, a businessman from out of town arrived. He was looking for local partners to open a chain of stores in the region. He held a public meeting, inviting interested young entrepreneurs. Raphael went, of course. He sat in the first row, asked intelligent questions, impressed everyone with his business vision. At the end of the meeting, the businessman called him aside. "You have talent, Raphael. I saw that clearly. I'm offering a partnership, but I need total commitment. You'll have to work hard, dedicate yourself completely for the first 2 years. It will be difficult, but the return will be proportional to the effort. Are you willing?" Raphael could barely contain his emotion. "Of course, this is what I've always waited for. I was born for this." "Great," said the businessman. "I need you to prepare a detailed business plan, study the local market, identify the best commercial locations, do a competitive analysis. I have a meeting here in 3 weeks. Present your work, and we'll close the deal." Raphael left the meeting floating. He told everyone he met, "See, I always said my time would come. I'm going to be a partner with a big businessman. My life is going to change." On the first day, he woke up excited, grabbed paper and pen, started writing ideas. But after half an hour, he felt tired. "It's too much work to do all at once," he thought. "I'll do it bit by bit. I have 3 weeks. That's plenty of time." On the second day, he decided he deserved a rest. "I worked yesterday. I need to relax a little." On the third day, it was raining. "Can't go out in this weather. Impossible to visit commercial locations now." On the fourth day, a friend invited him to a party. "I need this leisure time. Working too much is bad for creativity." A week passed. Raphael had done nothing but scribble some loose ideas on paper, but he wasn't worried. "I still have 2 weeks, he thought. The second week began. Raphael finally decided he needed to really start, but when he sat down to work, he realized he didn't know where to begin. The task seemed enormous, complex, frightening. "I need help," he concluded. "I'll ask someone to help me." But who would help? His friends were busy with their own jobs and businesses. Raphael felt frustrated. "If the businessman really wanted to help me, he would have given me more guidance. This task is impossible to do alone." The third week arrived. Raphael panicked. He tried to do something, anything, but he was so anxious he couldn't think straight. He spent sleepless nights, not because he was working, but because he was anguished, thinking about the work he wasn't doing. On the day of the meeting, Raphael woke with a knot in his stomach. He had nothing ready, nothing. He considered not going, but the shame would be worse. So he decided to go and try to explain, try to get more time, try to convince the businessman that it was still worth it. When he arrived at the meeting location, there were 5 other young people waiting. All had thick folders, graphs, prepared presentations. Raphael had only a sheet of paper with loose ideas. One by one, the candidates presented their work. They were professional, well thought out, impressive. When Raphael's turn came, he began to speak. And he spoke very well, it must be said. He always knew how to speak. He used beautiful words, intelligent concepts, strategic vision. For a moment, he almost convinced himself that he had done a good job. But the businessman was no fool. He listened patiently and at the end said with kindness but firmness, "Raphael, you speak very well. You have interesting ideas, but I asked for concrete work, not beautiful words. I asked for dedication, and you brought me improvisation. I'm sorry, but I can't trust a business to someone who doesn't take an opportunity like this seriously." Raphael left that meeting destroyed, not by the rejection itself, but because, for the first time in his life, he couldn't blame anyone but himself. He couldn't say the businessman was too rigid. He couldn't say the task was impossible. Others had succeeded. He couldn't say he didn't have time. He had 3 weeks. For the first time, Raphael looked in the mirror and saw the truth. He was ambitious, yes, but he was lazy. And ambition without action is just fantasy. That night, Raphael couldn't sleep. For the first time in years, not because he was worried about work he should be doing, but because he was having the most important conversation of his life with himself. He thought about all the wasted years, about all the lost opportunities, about all the times he chose comfort instead of effort, about all the excuses he gave, about all the justifications he created. And then something happened. A deep pain, a pain he had never felt before, took over his chest. It wasn't the pain of rejection, it was the pain of regret. The pain of looking back and seeing a desert of wasted time. The pain of realizing that he had become exactly what he promised never to be, someone who dreams, but doesn't do. He cried. He cried like he hadn't cried since childhood. He cried for every lost opportunity, for every broken promise, for every frustrated expectation. He cried for the parents who believed in him, for the teachers who tried to help him, for the friends who admired him and now looked at him with pity. But in the midst of the tears, something else was born. A decision, a determination, a promise, not to others but to himself. Raphael decided that this would be the last night he would sleep as a lazy dreamer. Tomorrow, he would wake up different. And he woke up different. At 5 in the morning, the alarm rang. For the first time in years, Raphael got up at the first ring. His body begged to go back to sleep. His mind invented 1,000 excuses, but he got up, took a shower, got dressed, and went out to walk through the still sleeping city. As he walked, he made a mental list of everything he had failed to do, of all the skills he could have developed, of all the knowledge he could have acquired. The list was long, painfully long. Where do I start? He asked himself out loud, standing in the middle of the empty street. And then he remembered something his grandfather used to say: "The man who wants to move a mountain starts by carrying small stones." Raphael decided to start small, very small, so small it would be impossible to fail. He decided that every day, without exception, he would do 3 things: wake up at 5 in the morning, read for an hour, and work on something productive for at least 2 hours, no matter what. It seemed like little, ridiculously little for someone with such big ambitions. But Raphael had learned something fundamental. Ambition without discipline is illusion, and discipline is built with small, consistent victories. On the first day, it was difficult, but he succeeded. On the second day, it was equally difficult, but he succeeded again. On the third day, his body ached with exhaustion, but he didn't give in. A week passed. For the first time in his life, Raphael had kept a promise he had made to himself. For 7 consecutive days, he had woken up early, had read, had worked. He hadn't changed the world, but he had changed himself. He looked for a job, any job, no longer the perfect job he always waited for, just an honest job that would give him sustenance and keep him busy. He got a position as a helper in a bakery. The work started at 4 in the morning. It was heavy, poorly paid, and had nothing to do with his grandiose dreams. But Raphael accepted, and he worked like he had never worked in his life. He lifted boxes, cleaned the floor, organized shelves. He did everything he was told without complaining. His friends were shocked when they found out. Raphael working in a bakery. The Raphael who always thought he was too good for manual labor. Yes, that same Raphael, but transformed. In the first months, it was brutal. His body wasn't used to physical work. His hands cracked. His muscles ached. There were nights when he fell into bed so exhausted he could barely think. But something strange was happening. For the first time in his life, Raphael was sleeping in peace. There was no longer that constant anguish, that feeling of wasting life. He was tired, yes, but it was an honest tiredness. The tiredness of someone who works, not the exhaustion of someone who worries without doing anything. And he maintained his routine. Every day, without fail, he woke up early, read, and worked on personal projects. He began studying business administration on his own. He read books about business that he borrowed from the library. He watched educational videos when he had internet access. He took notes, made plans, but now they were real plans, with concrete steps, no longer vague dreams. The bakery owner, a man named Severino, was an observant man. He noticed Raphael's transformation. He noticed that he always arrived before time. He noticed that he did more than was asked. He noticed that, unlike other employees, Raphael never complained, never made excuses, never missed work. One day, Severino called Raphael to talk. "Boy, I've known you since childhood. I know your reputation as a dreamer who never does anything, but I've seen something different in you these months." What happened? Raphael told everything. He told about the businessman, about the lost opportunity, about the night when he finally looked in the mirror and saw the truth. He told about his decision to change, about waking up every day and working, even when he didn't want to. Severino listened in silence. When Raphael finished, the old man nodded slowly. "You know, Raphael, I've had many employees, some much more experienced than you, but most don't last even 3 months. You know why? Because bakery work is hard. It starts early, it's exhausting, it's not glamorous. People come thinking they'll endure it, but when reality hits, they quit. You've been here 4 months, and not only are you here, you work better every day. That tells me something about you. It tells me you've learned something most people never learn, that greatness doesn't come from beautiful dreams, but from consistent work. Severino paused, and then said something that would change the course of Raphael's life. I'm getting old. My children don't want the bakery. They went to the big city. I need someone to manage this business, someone I can trust, someone who knows the work from the inside, who doesn't think they're above anything. Do you want to be that someone? Raphael could barely believe what he was hearing. Mr. Severino, I don't know what to say. I barely have experience. Experience is gained by working, interrupted Severino. Character isn't. Character is built through choices, and you've been making the right choices. So, do you accept or not? I accept, said Raphael, his voice trembling with emotion. So I accept and promise you won't regret it. And Severino didn't regret it. Raphael dove headfirst into the new responsibility. Now he wasn't just an employee, he was a manager in training. He needed to learn about finances, about inventory management, about suppliers, about quality, about customer service. It was overwhelming, but Raphael had changed. Instead of feeling oppressed by the amount of work, he created a system. He divided everything he needed to learn into small parts. And each day, without haste but without pause, he learned a little more. He made mistakes, many mistakes. Once, he made a wrong flour order, and the bakery was left with excess inventory. Another time, he miscalculated the bread's baking point and lost an entire batch. But the difference was that now, when he made mistakes, Raphael didn't make excuses. He didn't blame others. He owned the mistake, learned from it, and made sure he wouldn't repeat it. Severino watched everything with satisfaction. You know what the difference is between you now and you a year ago? He asked one day. It's not that you're making fewer mistakes, it's that you're learning from them. The old Raphael would have blamed the supplier for the flour mistake, would have said the oven was defective when the bread burned, but you own it, correct it, and move forward. That's maturity. 2 years passed. Raphael was no longer the helper, not even the manager in training. He was, for all intents and purposes, who ran the bakery. Severino was still the owner, but increasingly he just observed, proud, while Raphael made everything work, and the bakery prospered. Raphael implemented improvements, created new products, improved customer service, organized promotions, sales increased. The establishment's reputation grew. People came from other cities to buy at Mr. Severino's bakery, which was now, in practice, Raphael's bakery. But Raphael didn't stop there. In his free time, he studied. He took a technical business administration course online. He learned about digital marketing. He created social media profiles for the bakery. He started home deliveries. Every month, there was a new initiative, a new project, a new improvement. His old friends, those who looked at him with pity, now looked at him with respect. Some even came asking for advice. Raphael, how did you manage to turn things around? How did you change so much? And Raphael always answered honestly, I didn't change because I had a great opportunity. I changed because I stopped waiting for one. I didn't become successful because I was lucky. I became successful because I woke up every day and worked, even when I didn't want to. The difference wasn't a magical moment. It was the decision to do every day what I knew I needed to do. On his 25th birthday, Severino called Raphael for a serious conversation. They sat at the back table of the bakery after all the customers had already left. Raphael, Severino began, when I hired you 3 years ago, I saw something in you. I saw a man who was finally learning life's most important lesson, that dreams without work are nightmares waiting to happen, and you didn't disappoint me. Mr. Severino, I owe everything to you, said Raphael. You gave me a chance when no one else would. No, Severino gently corrected. I gave you an opportunity. That's true, but you're the one who did something with it. Many others had the same opportunity before you. They all quit. You didn't. And that's why I'm making this decision. Severino placed an envelope on the table. This bakery has always been my dream, my life, but I'm old. I want to rest. I want to spend my last years with my wife, travel a bit, meet my grandchildren who live far away, and I want to leave this business in good hands. Raphael felt his heart race. Inside this envelope is a proposal. I'm offering you a partnership. 50% of the business will be yours. In 5 years, if everything goes well, you can buy my part completely. The bakery will be entirely yours." Tears filled Raphael's eyes, not just from joy, but from something deeper. It was the feeling that everything had been worth it. Every dawn waking up when he wanted to sleep, every day of hard work, every moment of discipline when it was easier to give up. Everything had led to this moment. "I accept," said Raphael. His voice choked. "And I promise to honor your trust." "I know you will," said Severino with a smile. "You've already proven that every day for the last 3 years." That night, Raphael walked through the same streets he had walked 3 years before when he had decided to change. But everything was different now. He was different. He was no longer the young man full of empty dreams. He was a man who had transformed dreams into reality through work, discipline, and persistence. He stopped at the central square, where he used to spend entire afternoons with friends, talking about what he would do, about who he would be. He sat on the same bench where he had wasted countless hours of his life, and there, alone, under the stars, Raphael made a silent promise. He promised that he would never again confuse ambition with action, that he would never again let dreams replace work, that he would never again be that person everyone admires for their words, but no one respects for their actions. He had been ambitious and lazy. Now, he would be ambitious and hardworking, and that difference, that small but crucial difference, was what separated winners from dreamers. The years followed. Raphael completely took over the bakery, expanded the business, opened a second store, then a third, employed dozens of people, became a respected businessman in the region, but most importantly, he became an example. Young people came to him asking for advice, and Raphael always told his story, without hiding, without embellishing, without pretending it was easy. He told about the ambitious and lazy Raphael who lost all opportunities, about the night when he finally looked in the mirror, about the decision to change, about the 3 years of hard, humble, consistent work, about how greatness isn't a magical moment, but rather 1,000 small moments of choosing the difficult instead of the easy. "Talent opens doors," he would say, "but it's discipline that makes you enter and stay. I had talent, I always did, but talent without work is like a seed that was never planted. It has potential but never becomes a tree." And always, at the end of his advice, Raphael would say something that became his trademark. "If you dream big but do nothing, you're not ambitious. You're just a lazy person with beautiful fantasies. True ambition isn't in the size of the dream, but in the size of your effort to make it real." And this story you just heard isn't just about a man named Raphael. It's about something much bigger, much more universal, much closer to each of us. It's about the silent tragedy that happens every day in thousands of lives, the tragedy of wasted potential, of buried talents, of dreams that died not because they were impossible, but because no one worked to make them real. How many Raphaels exist in this world? How many people full of ambition, full of dreams, full of plans, but empty of action? How many of us are guilty of confusing planning with progress, intention with results, desire with discipline? The truth is harsh, but necessary. It doesn't matter how much you dream big if you live small. It doesn't matter how many plans you have if you never execute any. It doesn't matter how many opportunities appear in your life if you never act on them. The world is full of people who could have been something, but weren't. Could have done something, but didn't. Could have changed their lives, but chose the comfort zone. And the saddest part? Many of these people don't even realize it. They keep believing they're ambitious, that they're different, that their time will come. But years pass, decades pass, and nothing changes, because they never understood the fundamental lesson. Ambition without action is just fantasy. Raphael was lucky. He had his wake-up call at 21. He still had time to change, to rebuild, to create a meaningful life. But not everyone is that lucky. Some wake up at 40, 50, 60, and when they finally see the truth, when they finally realize they wasted their best years waiting for the perfect moment, for the ideal opportunity, for the motivation that never comes, it's too late. Not too late to change. It's never too late for that, but too late to recover the lost time. So here's the question you need to answer with brutal honesty. Are you like Raphael before or after the change? Are you ambitious and hardworking, or ambitious and lazy? Do you talk a lot and do little, or talk little and do a lot? Look at your life honestly. Look at the last months, the last year, the last 5 years. What have you built? What have you achieved? And don't tell me about your plans, your dreams, your intentions. Tell me about your actions. Tell me about the work you put in. Tell me about the mornings you woke up when you wanted to sleep, about the days you worked when you wanted to rest, about the moments you chose the difficult instead of the easy, because that's the only real measure of ambition. Not the size of your dreams, but the size of your effort. And if you realize you've been like the old Raphael, lazy behind a mask of ambition, don't despair. Because Raphael's story also teaches us something hopeful. It's never too late to change. He changed at 21. You can change today, now, at this exact moment. But it needs to be a real change, not that change we make every Monday, every first of the month, every new year. Not that empty promise we make to ourselves and break the next day. It needs to be a deep, painful, definitive change. A change that comes from looking in the mirror and seeing the truth, however uncomfortable it may be. And then, after seeing the truth, you need to do what Raphael did. Start small. Start with something so simple it's impossible to fail. A small action, every day, without exception. It doesn't need to be big. It needs to be consistent. Because it's consistency, not intensity, that transforms lives. Raphael started by waking up early, reading for an hour, and working 2 hours on something productive. Was it little? Yes, but it was more than he was doing before. And more importantly, it was something he could maintain. And it was that consistency, day after day, week after week, month after month, that built the man he became. You can do the same. It doesn't matter where you are now. It doesn't matter how many opportunities you've lost. It doesn't matter how many years you've wasted. The past is gone. You can't change it. But the future is built today, now, with the next choice you make. So choose well. Choose action instead of eternal planning. Choose work instead of excuses. Choose discipline instead of fleeting motivation. Choose to be ambitious and hardworking, not ambitious and lazy. Because in the end, when you're old and look back, you won't regret the things you tried and failed. You'll regret the things you never tried, the opportunities you let pass, the dreams you kept only as dreams. Don't be another Raphael before the change. Be the Raphael after. Be the one who wakes up, who works, who persists, who builds. Be the one who transforms dreams into reality through consistent action, hard work, and unwavering discipline. Your story doesn't need to end like so many others, full of could have been and if I had done. Your story can be like Raphael's, a story of transformation, of redemption, of a man who was ambitious and lazy and became ambitious and unstoppable. The choice is yours. It always has been, it always will be. So what will you choose? Will you keep dreaming and waiting? Or will you wake up and act? The Raphael in the story made his choice that night, at 21, when he finally looked in the mirror and saw the truth. And that choice changed his entire life. Now it's your turn to choose. If this story touched your heart, if you saw a bit of yourself in Raphael before the change, leave your comment below. Say one concrete action you're going to start doing today, not tomorrow, today. And subscribe to the channel for more stories that will make you reflect and, who knows,